You know, a wise man once said, everyone on the internet is angry all the time and nobody is having any fun. Well, I'm here to announce that was a lie. It was a sham. You fell for it, and I duped all of you, because some people on the internet are having some fun, and some people aren't angry, and those people are me, right now. I'm having a grand old time, because I've come to a stunning realization. A shock. It was a revelation that was hidden from all of humanity until now. Honestly, I'm just gonna say it, I think video games are really good. That's not the shocking part. The shocking part is that people tend to think that nowadays video games are terrible, and they're so much worse than they used to be. I am not knocking older games, but I honestly think video gaming right now is probably the best it's ever been. And that's a bold statement, because people are all the time ranting about how terrible Ubisoft and Nintendo and what's that other one, Activision, and who's that other guy? Who's the guys who do EA? They're ranting about how terrible those companies are. And they're accurate. Those companies are really, really bad. Including Nintendo. A lot of people are upset when I throw Nintendo in with those other ones, but I think Nintendo has done some pretty messed up stuff. They do a lot of copyright striking for no reason. They're charging $500 for the Switch 2, which is a psycho price. But what I think is that overall, altogether, I think video games are a lot better now than they ever have been. So first of all, it's the quality of the games. Obviously, graphics have gotten better. That's true. But I also think just overall, the quality of the games we get are generally better. There are certain older games that are still fun, still games that hold up. But dude, so far this year, I've played Jedi Fallen Order, great game. I played Hollow Knight, great game. I played Minecraft. Oh, Minecraft is phenomenal. I've talked about that before. And I played Splitgate 2. Those are all phenomenal games that did not exist in the past. I think something like Splitgate, I don't even think we would ever have the technology for that. I mean, think about how many free-to-play online multiplayer games we have. Fortnite, Apex, PUBG, we have so many free downloadable games that we used to never have. They all got microtransactions in them. You know, that's on you if you want to get them. I won't judge you. But what I mean is, it's just the fact that we can have these. These were not possible in the 90s, in the early 2000s. Even the 2010s, they really weren't as big as they are now. But now we just have so many incredible free games that you can just download and play. And that's remarkable. I'm very happy to be able to be playing video games at this point in human history, when we have so much stuff for free. Or if not for free, there are still so many games where the price that you're paying for the game is... There are definitely a lot where the price far exceeds the quality of the game. $60 for some games is absolutely insane. Gollum, Lord of Rings Gollum, was $60, which is... I don't even want to get into the psychotic delusion you would have to think that game is worth $60. Balan Wonderworld, again, what a complete disconnect between the price of a game and the quality of the game. But then you got to look at it on the other way. Dude, think about how many phenomenal indie games aren't even like half that. Minecraft right now is $30, which is a steal, dude. That I feel guilty paying $30 once and being able to play Infinity Minecraft. That is psychotic. I know I talk about Minecraft a lot, but it's a really good game. I just went back and played it again. Super fun. $30 for Minecraft is a great deal. $30 for Celeste is also a great deal. Undertale dropped to $1 on Steam for a couple days. Normally, I think it's $20, but it dropped to $1, which is incredible. I like Mario Galaxy. I like Ocarina of Time, but I really, really appreciated Undertale. I thought it was an incredible game, all made mostly by one dude, and it's $1 on Steam. That is crazy. That is literally I'm so angry about that price. That's such a good deal, I'm angry about it. Even though as the consumer I should be happy, I'm furious at how good of a deal I'm getting. I can't handle deals this good. It puts me at unease. Of course, then you gotta look at it the other way. You gotta be like, okay, wait a minute. Chants of Sennaar, an incredible indie game that I just really connected with and I really liked. That was like $20. Mario Kart World is $80. I think Mario Kart World is a little overpriced, if you ask me. It does look good, admittedly, But still, what I'm saying is when you look at, like, indie games, and you're like, this indie game that's incredible, that blew me away, was like a fourth of the price of Mario Kart. I like Mario Kart. I think it's good. But it's not $80 good. It's not that good. It's good, but, like, you know, it's not. I'm not paying $80 for Mario Kart World. But this is a positive video. I don't want to trash Nintendo too much. Because I mean, look at Uncharted, right? Uncharted back in 2007, you had to pay full price for Uncharted Drake's Fortune. Nowadays, you can get all 3 games for like $10 on the PlayStation Store. You can get the remaster. Do you know how awesome that is? A lot of old games get lost to time. Yeah, it's a tragedy. But a lot of old games get remastered and repackaged, and you can buy so many games for a fraction of the cost they should have been. Half the collections I have on my shelf are just remasters or remakes. But that's actually incredible because they're still really, really good games. I'd probably say they're better because they've been remade and remastered, and you've got like 3 games packaged into one game. So you pay one price for getting 3 games. Yeah, video games are kind of going through. It's becoming more corporate as time goes on to some degree. You've got so many companies just pumping their games full of microtransactions. You got like Ubisoft selling you games for full price and then charging you extra money to skip the boring parts of the game, which is an insane tactic. It's a very smarmy move. You're very smarmy if you do that. You're covered in smarm. You're like a true smarmy smarm. I just like the word smarm. But what I'm saying is, companies are kind of lately becoming very corporate and just very anti, customer lately is what I feel. But at the same time, if you take a step back and you actually objectively look at it, people say that, the Switch 2 is $500. That is an insane price. That is completely unacceptable for a console, in my opinion. And that doesn't even factor in the fact that they're getting scalped, like, immediately. But let's just say, if you actually take a look at it and you realize how good the graphics actually are on the Switch 2 and how much stuff it does, it's handheld, it has a built-in camera and microphone, it connects to the TV, any of this stuff would probably be $500, if not more than that, a couple of years ago. Obviously, technology has improved, which in theory should mean the prices of things should be going down. So I don't want to defend Nintendo. Like I said, I'm not getting the Switch 2. I think it's an absurd price. But I do think we take a lot for granted. And like I said, you also have to factor in the reality that, like, well, hold on, I can get a PlayStation 4 and, like, 10 of the best indie games for a fraction of what it would be to get the Switch 2. I don't know if the Switch 2 is worth it for $500. But I think that, I do think that people are really taking a lot of the good stuff we have for granted. Myself included, I'm pretty negative sometimes. I like to complain because it's more funny than just, like, being honest and being like, yeah, things aren't that bad. But the truth is... Can you hear me again? Okay. Normally I don't like to do multiple takes for my videos, but I was in the middle of screaming and I yanked out my microphone cable. I just, like, basically ripped out my microphone's, like, spinal cord and it died. So we're gonna have to pick up where I left off. What was I talking about? Something about Nintendo is stealing all my money. They're taking everything from me. They took my house. I think that as corporations do become greedier and they start charging more money, and I don't want to trash on just Nintendo. I trash on them a lot because I feel like they don't get the hatred that they deserve. People are always so quick to jump down the throats of Ubisoft and EA, but they don't, criticize Nintendo for how expensive things are. But again, I don't want to take too much time to trash talk Nintendo because overall, I do think that their games are really good. That's kind of my problem with them is that they don't re-release them often enough. But aside from Nintendo, think about how many games are on the PlayStation Store right now for like $4. You could just go get Sly Cooper. You could just go get Spyro, all 3 of the Spyro games. You got Steam. Do you know how many games you can get on Steam for practically free? Do you know how many incredible games are just, like, right there? You can just download them. Yeah, I do think that video games have gotten much more annoying to actually deal with over time. Like, trying to actually set up the game takes a while. The companies are always trying to scam you for more money. Or I guess not scam you, but they're always trying to milk more money out of you. But at the same time, games are way bigger. Games like Elden Ring, I'm not a fan of Elden Ring because I suck at it. I would have a better time putting a leprechaun in the NBA would do better than I would do at Elden Ring. But the truth is, as much as I'm not good at Elden Ring, I have to admit it's a really good game and it's a really big game. And that game could not exist in like the 90s. Like, you couldn't put that game on the N64, it would explode immediately. Because we didn't have the technology then, and also we didn't have as many video games were not as big as they were now, so we didn't have people making these giant games. So whenever you feel like video games truly are getting so much worse and everything seems to be falling apart, the answer is the reason is probably because making videos about how everything is terrible, it gets way more views than making videos about how everything is actually pretty good. And that's why so many people on YouTube just love trashing video games. They love complaining about them because it's gonna get way more views. And also it's fun to just kind of go off and talk about how much you hate something. But the truth is, like I said, I think video games are good. I think they're getting better. I'm excited for what the future holds. VR technology is looking cool. And I kind of want to see where that goes because I think there's some cool stuff that we can do with that. And over time, I do think that we're going to end up getting cheaper and better quality games. I really do.